honor, Mr. Raymond. I'm so mahalo for allowing us to participate in this honor. And I speak on behalf of Native Hawaiians and our rights that are continuously being abolished. They continue to step on us. And that's the same thing the Christians did to us when they came here. Okay, they convinced our ali'i ka'ahumanu that Christianity was the way to go. And what that caused was a war where Native Hawaiians were killing off Native Hawaiians for the sake of this Christian belief. And what she did all that, and in the end, the Christians didn't even give her a proper burial. Okay, it was the families that she was killing off that put her iwi to rest. So these people that she was killing off our Native Hawaiians for did not even take care of her iwi. It was the Hawaiians that she was killing off, the families that she was having killed off that took care of her iwi. And by the way, that was my family. And that was also my family that fought the Christians. And many of them were killed. And so today, I can ku'e the Christian church, ku'e the papal bull. I can burn this papal bull with no problem. I've been doing it for a couple of years with Tony, and mahalo for reminding me and inviting me again. And I was able to bring my my appeal, and they're learning, and I want them to carry on, because it was also not only my family, it was their family as well that were killed off, that Christianity would come forward. Until today, we still observe our traditional and cultural practices. We do not observe the Christian practices. And yeah, I went to a Christian school, but big deal. They taught me a lot. They taught me a lot. You know, where today I can make the difference. I can see the difference. Mahalo.
Would others like to say a word? Was Michael, did you want to say? Richard would like to say a word.
Okay, my name is Richard Salvador. I'm from Palau in the Pacific, and I have been here for 16 years with Tony. We organized the first one, and I think I've missed 2 years, but I have been here from the beginning. Now, I wanted to say something very quickly to tell us the real significance of this papal bull. I looked at the date, and I computed it. It's 520 years later. And the significance of this is that Tony was talking about a body of laws that has to do with Native rights and United States government power over Native peoples. There's a U.S. Supreme Court case, Johnson versus McIntosh, that had to do with land on the U.S. continent. And that case came up with a decision that said, actually it referenced the papal bulls in saying that the doctrine of discovery gives the right to the United States government to rule over the U.S., the current U.S. United States of America. And then subsequently, after 1821, when that case came out, there has been a series of court cases that reference this law. And so when you have a case that has to do with Native rights, it goes back and references itself back to these papal bulls. So we're here not only to express sympathy for those who have gone, but also to express our happiness for the 520 years that we have been here. The last 16 years, this is a continuity of consciousness in a way. So we're here every year paying attention to and giving witness to over 500 years of resistance. So thank you very much for coming this year. Mahalo.
Are there anybody else who would like to say a few words? Michael, did you want to say a few words?
I'm not prepared to speak, but I take the opportunity to speak from my heart, sure, because this is a very important issue, and it's fundamental to everything that's going on. It's fundamental to sustainability because it's connected to the development from Rome and the Vatican and this ridiculous ignorant law that justified the taking of land, property, gold, slaves, people, resources of all the non-Christian world. It's absurd that it's still on the books, and there's probably legal ramifications for why it's still on the books. But if we're talking about sustainability, I think the priority is to keep sustainability on top, and all else must fail. So the notion of too big to fail is a wrong notion. I was brought up a Catholic in Australia. I'm Irish descent. This has ramifications for me too, because it affects my relationship with my family, who are still entrenched with the Roman Catholic Church, to the point where I feel I'm disowned, or I disown them, or something. There's a rift, and yes, we need to repeal this law, and I don't believe the Catholic Church has the power to do it. That people have to just disregard it, perhaps.
Hi, hola. Hola. My name is Nidia Garcia. I'm glad to be here. This is my second year. And I think that I represent the indigenous people from my country, Mayas, Aztecas, Zapotecas, Mixtecas, indigenous people from Mexico. I just want to say that 500 years ago they were being exploited. Today they are exploited. Yeah, they are suffering. Nobody helped them. Nobody listened them. The same things that happened long time ago are still happening today. Thank you so much.
Anybody else want to say a few words? Why don't we just come on in a little, and if anybody else wants to say a few words, we still have a little time. If not, I want to, I want to say that we're here to honor, those who have come before us, to honor our ancestors, who suffered greatly. So we need to, keep up the struggle, and call on them. If we call on them, they'll be with us. Okay. So I'll start to read, and then you can start with, and then after I read the cards, those of you who have the cards can read one after the other. And the Christians, with their horses and swords and pikes, began to carry out massacres and strange cruelties against them. They attacked the towns and spared neither the children nor the aged nor pregnant women, nor women in childbed, not only stabbing them and dismembering them, but cutting them into pieces, as if dealing with sheep in the slaughterhouse. They took infants from their mother's breasts, snatching them by the legs and pitching them headfirst against the crags, or snatched them by the arms and threw them into the rivers, roaring with laughter, saying, as the babies fell into the water, boil there, you offspring of the devil. Next.
The Spaniards took babies from their mother's breast, grabbing them by the feet and smashing their heads against the rocks. They built a long gibbet, low enough for the toes to touch the ground and prevent strangling, and hanged 13 natives at the time in honor of Christ our Savior and the 12 apostles. Then straw was wrapped around their torn bodies and they were burned alive.
Next, anybody?
The Spaniards went with their war dogs hunting down Indian men and women. It happened that a sick Indian woman could not escape from the dogs. Saw a boy being torn apart by them in this fashion. She took a cord and tied her year-old child to her leg, and then she hanged herself from a beam. But the dogs came and tore the child apart. Before the creature expired, however, a friar baptized it.
Hold on,
Next.
When the Spaniards had collected a great deal of gold from the Indians, they shut them up in 3 big houses, crowding in as many as they could. Then set fire to the houses, burning alive all that were in them. Yet those Indians had given no cause, nor made any resistance.
The Spanish treated the Indians with such rigor and inhumanity that they seemed the very ministers of hell, driving them day and night with beatings, kicks, lashes, and blows, and calling them no sweeter names than dogs. Women who had just given birth were forced to carry burdens for the Christians, and thus could not carry their infants because of the hard work and weakness of hunger. Infinite numbers of these were cast aside on the road and thus perished.
Because he did not give the great quantity of gold asked for, they burdened him, and a number of other nobles and caciques, with the intention of leaving no prince of chieftain alive in the entire country.
They would cut an Indian's hand and leave them dangling by a shred of skin. And they would test their swords and their manly strength on captured Indians and place bets on the slicing off of heads or the cutting of bodies in half with one blow. One cruel captain traveled over many leagues, capturing all the Indians he could find. Since the Indians would not tell him who their new lord was, he cut off the hands of some and threw others to the dogs, and thus they were torn to pieces.
True. The truth is good. The truth is good. Rarely told. Very good.
Mama!
Ikua!
Mama! Ikululu! Ikalanabo!
Ikua!
Ikulanabo!
Ikua! 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 Mau! Mau kai ulu e kulia! Iku mau mau! Ikua! Iku mau mau! Ikululu! Ikalanabo! Ikua! Ikulanabo! Ikua! 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 Ikua mau! Mau kai ulu e kulia! Iku mau mau! Ikua! Iku mau mau! Ikululu! Ikalanabo! Ikua! Ikulanabo! Ikua! 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 Ikua mau! Mau kai ulu e kulia! Iku mau mau! Ikua! Iku mau mau! Ikululu! Ikalanabo! Ikua! Ikulanabo! Ikua! Ikua uki kua koi kua mau kai ulu kulia. 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 Yeehaw.
I want to mahalo everybody for all of you coming out, taking the time out. Kanoi, I really appreciate you coming all the way out on here, bringing your ohana. That's wonderful. Terry. Mahalo Terry, mahalo Dave, everybody. We'll just keep up the struggle. We'll be at the legislature lobbying. It'd be great if you folks could come down to the legislature. We need help. We need help because there's resistance to the issue and resistance to changing the name to a more appropriate name. So we're moving forward. Imua.
Okay, excuse me, what are we doing right here?
We're informing the church that we're still here, we're still fighting, we're still alive, we survived their Holocausts, the genocide campaigns. We're continuing, we're moving forward, and you know, we want them also to step forward and take responsibility. This is the year 2013, and you know, there's still a lot of pilikia going on, as we know, around the world. In the past, it was more or less Christian dominion 500 years ago, where Christianity reigned supreme. Today, you know, it's more like corporate dominion, where the corporations are the ones implementing all the pilikia. You know, there are massacres, genocides back then, but today, you know, you have over 20,000 children dying every day from preventable diseases. That's like a genocide. That's uncalled for. Half the planet's living in poverty. What's that about? So the past is within the present. So, you know, we're continuing to fight like our ancestors did, relying on their spirit to keep us going.
And your name?
Tony Castagna.
And how can we get in touch with you if we'd like to learn more?
You can email me at my email, Castagna, CASTANHA @hawaii.edu, or you could do a search on the Papal Bulls do a Google search. Look up Indigenous Peoples Day. Do a search on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Mahalo for what you do. Thank you.
Yeah, mahalo for coming out.